He said, and you know, I would encourage you that when people see you, ingratiate them. I said, wow, this man challenged me. Like, I thought this was fabulous. He must be from God. And so in 3 weeks, he said we needed to get married. And I said, okay, God, I know I wasn't looking for a husband, so maybe you sent him. And after we got married, about 3 or 4 days later, I found out he was a homosexual and that he had been engaging in sexual activity in Prospect Park with other men. When he asked me why I wasn't married, I said to him, well, for most of my life, I've been a lesbian. So, you know, half my life I was a lesbian. Now I'm straight and old and no one's looking. So he said to me, well, I'm glad you said that because, you know, I've experimented, but I don't embrace the lifestyle. So I'm not going to go.
That wasn't a red flag for you?
No, because then I would be a red flag to every man. I was a lesbian. But you see, I was, meaning BC, before Christ, past tense. My husband couldn't do anything with a woman. So once we got married and it was the honeymoon was...
Not a honeymoon.
Well, I got undressed. Can I speak openly? I got undressed to go to bed with my husband. That's what I waited all this time. Okay, marriage night. And I'm thinking, okay, this is, you know. Right. And he looked at me, he said, what are you doing? And he panicked. I said, what's wrong? He said, I think there's something left to be said about decency, even in marriage. I don't want to see you naked.
As a man, can I say that was a hint and a half?
Well, I'm married now. What am I going to do? I'm married now.
Black women are the fastest growing segment of population inflicted with AIDS. And one of the primary manners that they're achieving it is through men who are leading double lives.
I'm not like you. You made love to me.
Did you ever once think about the consequences? Did you ever think about your daughter?
It's only one time.
These DL cats, you know, like I said, they're with these guys and they're with their wives and then, you know, they're with these single sisters. And then once again, that perpetuates the genocide.
It's an interesting paradox because you have on one side a motivation to survive on the part of the man who lives a double life.
I have a wife and a kid.
Okay, dear. That at best endangers the survival of the one with whom you're living this double life. And in many cases, condemning them.
The results came out.
It is, in many ways, the epitome of selfishness.
We're not finding out enough about our partners. We don't value ourselves enough to get to know this person who we lay with and share the most intimate parts of ourselves with. Today, HIV and AIDS is a disease of people of color. It is a Black disease.
Did you ever ask God, is this a man from, did you send him for me? And with all the signs that you said you were getting, wasn't that a sign?
Okay.
Wasn't that God speaking to you in all those
Of course it was.
moments?
What I saw was what I wanted to see. I took pride in saying, I know my life, and God is going to do this, and God is going to do that, and I will never do this. God wanted to show me you don't know a thing. As much as you think you know, I want to show you what you don't know. I want to show you how much you need to rely on me. I thought I knew that this was the one. It was a desperation. I actually said to my girlfriend, Veronica, I said, I feel so strong about this, I don't even feel the need to pray about it. Do you know those words came out of my mouth? I actually said, I pray about every single thing.
I think that oftentimes our naivete makes us so vulnerable. I know that our desperation and frustration makes us vulnerable. I know that oftentimes our neediness and our desire, sometimes innocent desire, to be with someone and have someone, tends to result in us just choosing not to look at certain things. I cannot tell you how many people I've met who were desperate to be married and who have walked down the painful, lonely halls of divorce court because they were driven by desperation rather than being led by God.
When men see women that are desperate for another man, we go the other way.
At one point, I have been a desperate woman. But the thing that drives desperate women is fear. fear of being alone, fear of not having, not meeting the right person. It's fear. It's a woman who has had her longing just there and exposed and ignored, and so they take actions into their own hands. That's what desperate women do.
Obviously, you're like a lot of these women in this room, including myself, where we have a lot of issues from our childhood that if we don't address them, they just continue.
I've had a hard, rough, tough life. All I want is one thing, is love and honesty from people. I don't want anything else. So, here is this man giving me love and telling me, I am your family. I had never heard those words.
But you just hit a key thing. The deception will come from the place of your need. Understand that. He got in so smooth by presenting the things that you said. I will have these things in my life to overcome what my life hasn't been right about.
I didn't even know if he was that smart.
Predators always are. Please understand, he has practiced at the art of deception.
Yes.
His life has always been a lie. My first question to you as your pastor would have been, who's his community? And if you don't know his community, you're not his girlfriend. These guys have a community.
Exactly.
And it's only 24 hours in the day. If you can't account for significant chunks of it,
He wouldn't come home.
there's something
He
being
wouldn't
done
come.
with that time. Can I ask, where were the godly men in that process?
I don't have male friends.
Ask God to bring men into your life who will be models of manhood and models of godliness, who show you that there's number one, there's such a thing as a good guy. All men are not dogs, and all women are not dogettes.
A lot of times, men are not being challenged within the church by the men of God that are married, it says, the older men teach the young men. They're not being
I'm gonna make a bold
challenged
statement
to pursue.
Then I'm gonna make a bold
Okay,
statement.
please.
If you're in a church and you haven't seen that, you're in the wrong church.
Say you meet a man like she met and you think, oh, he's the one. Is it wrong to have him followed? Because you don't know. I mean, honestly, no, I'm serious, because if you have a man who will never take you around his friends and his family, you don't know what he does, he needs to be followed. Because he won't take me out. I need to know where you're going.
Here's what I would say. If he has already demonstrated the need to be followed, you don't need to know nothing else. You don't need to know. Don't overlook how good the game can be played.
At the end of the day, you can't tell.
That's right.
See, the problem is that they are not the stereotypical homosexual. They're not flaming. They're not overt. They are masculine. They're successful.